Hi everybody, it's Terry with Earleygirlsyarn. Thank you so much for joining me. It is actually Sunday, January 12th. I've recorded this once already, but my microphone, it's all new. So I had it all charged up, but I didn't turn it on. I don't know. So I had a whole video without sound. I just did a sound check, so I know I'm good for today. So I am recording a little bit later than I anticipated, which is why I do it a few days ahead of time. So if I have an error, I can fix it. So welcome. Hopefully the sound is great. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Earley, Earley, Early Girls Yarn. I am absolutely most active on Instagram. So I'm so glad you're here. And I'm so glad that you guys were able to watch my first State of the Stash video, which was the recap of December 2024, yarn coming in and yarn going out. You were all very gracious because let me just say, 60 skeins is not normal for me. I'm like, that is a lot even for me. I'm like, that's an unboxing that yarn stores do of the yarn they have in for their customers. It's fine. It's fine. So, yes, I am glad you're here, but I do want to share, even though I had a huge yarn haul in December, I had planned with the Contraband Knitting Group, which is what we like to call ourselves. We meet on Thursdays in Howell, Michigan. Um, we had planned to go to North Bay Fiber. Now there's like, I think 12 of us now in the group. Only 4 of us went to North Bay Fiber, but we had the best time. The best time. Jill is the owner and she's lovely. She's Knitterella as well. So she designs patterns, which I've sample knit for her. She's amazing. And then she started her yarn dyeing business some years ago. So we went up. It was lovely. I had the best time. I'm going to pause here to pop in. I took some videos of us arriving and videos of her store. Now, I did not do the whole store. I just did the yarny parts, but she's got like all these areas to sit and knit. She's got a whole table that you can like do classes on. It's wonderful. So I will let you watch that. Then I'll come back in and share a little bit of what I got, not all of it. Wasn't that lovely? Her color palette's outstanding. It was just great. It was great. So all the ladies had a lot of fun. Although, of course, I'm the only one crazy enough to take like pictures of me hugging my yarn haul. Let me post that here. Oh my goodness. I share that with you because of the State of the Stash. I am not sharing all of the yarn I got. I am sharing the project I will be casting on today. It was supposed to be yesterday as a reward for all the snow shoveling I did. But after the snow shoveling, I went up and took a nap. It happens. So I'm going to share a picture. I'm going to cast on the Artist Shaw, Artus, by Natasha Hornsby. It's not super new. Lots of people have knit it, but I have not yet. And you'll see, so when I do a pattern, you're going to see on the sides of this picture, I make notes. Like anytime it says repeat this 12 times and there's like a 2-stitch increase every 2 rows, I write the rows 1 through 12 and I write the stitch counts where it should be. And when I start, like I literally just notch it off every time I count so I know that I'm on track and that I haven't made an error. I know that's probably a little extra for a lot of you. That's just how my brain works. I like knitting better when I feel like I'm on track. So that's what I do. So here's the artist shawl by Natasha Hornsby. My printer's freaking out, so it didn't print the big picture. And here are my colors. So I've already caked one up, but it's the main color that I hold 2 of. So here they are. Isn't that great? And the dark black color I'll have 2 of. It took me a little bit trying to figure out how I wanted in the color work portion, the colors to land, because for whatever reason in my brain, I did not want the red and the black together. I just thought it was too much contrast. So I have it all laid out. The black is the main color. I am hoping that I'll have enough, but if not, Jill is really easy to work with. I could have her just ship a skein down. It'll be no problem. So I will be casting that on shortly because I'm really excited for that. So that was one of the things. I did get one other project, but I'll share that in the state of the stash because I will not be casting that on right away. So it was just lovely. I think it ended up being about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, a little bit of weather, but my friend Barbara drove and she handled it expertly. And we just all felt so grateful that we were able to go and do that. So I'm going to share some works in progress with you. One of the things, I have some themes this year that I won't necessarily be broadcasting here or checking in with really super intentionally, but I really enjoyed picking up a whip. It was my Allsorts cape back in December. So when I do my minis and my advent calendars, I really loved this year just opening the ones I got, just being so joyful and enjoying the colorways and just going on that adventure. And then working on my knitting socks. I will absolutely be knitting advent socks again next year. And then working on a different advent project with yarn from long ago. So let me share that. And I will say, I know I'm absolutely on the right track with this because when I recorded this yesterday, I was down here, like way down here. I've knit 20 rows of this just since yesterday. And in part of the pattern, you bind off the front part and you work kind of on the back section. I was able to do that today as well. But let me hold it up and show you the colors so you can see that. This is a 2022 Advent by Lindsay from Sprinked Fibers. And her colors are always stunning. So there we go. I'm loving it. I actually, so in the back, if you have the pattern, you'll see you do like a main color, which is this part right here that you do the bind off. So you do a main color and you actually start with the main color. I really like how Ambah does that. So I started with the main color and then you bind off in the main color. And then I'm on color 12, which I haven't even wound up yet. So then you do 12, main color, 12, 13, main color, 13, and then main color again, where you add those stitches back for the 2 front panels. The way that works, it will be a kind of a shawl. I'll show you. Now this is not the full length because it's not blocked and this is lace, so it will absolutely grow. But this will be like over my shoulder in the back, the way this works. And then this is the front. So it hangs like that way. And then I wasn't sure about this at all in the pictures, but I saw someone style it with a belt around the middle and they wore a dress and it just looked stunning. So that's what sold it for me. But I know I'm on the right track because literally 24 hours ago, I was 2, colors behind or less than what I have now. And I just kept knitting. I want to keep knitting on it. So that's my goal. And I think I'm going to pull a whip because we all have lots of them. I have lots of them. So I'm going to pull the whip and just constantly have one on the needles that's an older one that I still love, that I still want to wear, and just keep working on it. So my goal for this, originally I was going to try and get it done for Christmas, to wear at Christmas this last year, but I helped my friend Tracy, which I'm so grateful I could do that. So now I'm like, these colors would be gorgeous. I'm saying Valentine's Day. We don't really go out on a date for Valentine's Day, but for like a date in February, I'm like, this would be perfect. So that is my goal, and I'm really excited about it. I will be caking up this next little cutie because that's what I work on next. So I'm really excited for that. Now, one thing, I guess if I'm going to share one thing I do a little bit, not differently, but the pattern doesn't call for, I find you originally cast on 343 stitches, and then you work lace sections in 16 stitch increments. What I have found works best for me anytime I do any project, even if it's a little smaller than this, if I've got a repeat color work, lace, whatever, I put markers in. I'm sure, let's see if you can see them. I put markers in every 16 stitches. So I just can check my work. I find I make much less errors when I'm checking my work over 16 stitches versus trying to check 343 stitches. Or like right now, I think I'll have 183 stitches on the needle for just the back part. So much more convenient. It just makes the project more pleasurable for me. So that is what I do and what I have done with this one. So I'm really excited about the progress, even that I just made just yesterday, because it's a beauty. So that is one of my whips. The next one I want to share with you, this is a very much long-term whip. I shared it on Instagram. I know I've shared it, I think, here before. I think I'm just going to share it once a month and just show you that progress that I have at that time. And again, just like yesterday, I finished another square since I last held this up. When I measured the 6 rows yesterday, these 6, this was 20 inches. So that was good to know. I don't quite know how long I want it. But, if let's say that I think I actually might get to 7 rows, and this is all, let me back up. So my Coziest Memories blanket, it's a free pattern by Kemper Way. It's on Ravelry. I am using only yarn that I have used to make socks. And I have very few rules or stipulations other than I want to see the full colorway. So let's see if I can find one that's a little easier. Yeah, the very first one, I'm going to hold it kind of upside down. The very first one I cast on, I didn't get through the whole colorway. This cool mint green color never showed. So I decided to knit 2 squares from that. And then this was the heels, toes, and cuffs I used on it. This one down here is the Grand Canyon colorway from Mustache Yarn. And it took me 3 squares to get that whole colorway represented. And I'm totally good with that because I am using scraps, after I've knit socks, I have leftovers. So I don't mind using it up, and it will help me to grow my blanket a little bit quicker because I've only been a sock knitter for 1 year. And as of right this second, I cast this last sock. It was my Oxbow sock by Andrea Mowry. I cast that off December 2nd. So I'm not super close because I did 2 24 stripe Advent socks. And I know that those will take probably 4 to 5 squares to get all 24 colors in. So I have got some knitting to do before I'm done with my 2024 socks. But that's where I'm at with it. I love this project. It's kind of quick. It's mindless for me. I use a bigger size needle than what they suggested. I'm on a 2.5, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, I'm on a Chai-Gu 2.5, 3mm needle. And I do the 23 by 23 stitches as the pattern recommends. The only thing that, and it's not a big deal, I'm not mad at myself, it's not bad, but the only thing I wished I had kept up with was weaving in the ends. The reason why I didn't is because in December, I needed to finish my socks for December for my knit along with Desert Vista Dye Works. And she allows you to have 1 month out of the year you can use scraps for a project. So I wanted to make scrappy socks, which I fell in love with. But to do that, I needed to get my socks all in my blanket first. So it was kind of a mad dash. I mean, I really didn't even cast this on till like 1 week before Thanksgiving. And I just knit like the wind because I wanted to do them in as close as I could in the order that I knit them throughout the year. Now, if I didn't like a color next to something, like I was fine with moving like one sock over, moving it over a little bit, but I didn't want to do like a January sock in October. I just wanted to kind of keep them in the order that I knit them because it's just my special memory blanket. So on the back, you can see I've got the bottom 3 rows woven in with ends, and I'm like only like 1 row behind really. So what I do when I finish this row, I'll get the whole row, that whole, whatever that last row, I'll finish that and I'll do half of the next. So in the next couple rows, I'll get it all done. Or I might also take it to one of the knitting days with the knitting ladies, because sometimes it's fun to just listen to them chatter and weave in ends. So that's my cozy memory blanket. I absolutely love it. I mean, I think it's going to be probably a 3-year project, I guess, depending on how many socks I knit this year, really. But my goal for now, it probably won't happen until maybe February or March. I want to get caught up so that I am casting off a sock, knitting it right away in this blanket, and then putting the leftover yarns in the different bags to work on other projects. So that's my main goal. Again, we will see how that goes, but I'm guessing by like February, March, I'll have that caught up. No, there's no pressure at all whatsoever. That's just what I'm thinking about. So those are my 2 bigger projects. Now I'm going to pause a little bit. You won't notice it, but I'm going to reset my desk and get all of my sock whips out, because let me tell you, I have been casting on like a mad lady with all the socks. So let me do that and we can talk about sock whips. Okay, so I'm back. I've got my socks all out, and I'll share their project bags when I kind of pack them back up. So the first one, it's my only half finished object that I have, and this is a sock for my mom. It's a Christmas gift, which she knew it was going to be later. Most of my sock gifts, they told me like in November, Thanksgiving, that they wanted them. I'm like, there's no way with what's on my needles that I can get any of these done by Christmas for you guys, but I will work on them at the beginning of the year. So I see my mom this weekend. So my goal is to have her socks given to her. So I've got to get knitting on these. But the pattern is vanilla is the new black. I knit them on a size 1, US 1, 9-inch circ. I do 64 stitches. I did 40 stitches for her leg, and then, yeah, the size needed to bind off. She has much smaller feet than Izzy and I do, so it went quicker than normal. I have already cast on the second one. I am only 5 rows in, I think. This is Long Dog yarn, and it was Mom picked out the colorway when she was here in the summer. So I guess I knew hers in the summer. It's my niece's I didn't know till Thanksgiving. And yeah, I am excited for it. My goal today on this one, I've got some knitty goals for myself for today, is to get the leg done. So to get the 40 rows done, which should be super accomplishable. And this is in Prickly Owl bag. All of my sock bags right now are all Prickly Owl because I love her bags. This one, as I said, was a one of a kind. Now, the reason why I like these long Prickly Owl bags is I use a sock ruler. I don't need it on this pair because I already have it all measured out and I have my markers. So I just need to, count the markers and match the markers. But when I'm working on socks, the first sock that's not measured, I can just stick my little ruler right in this long bag and grab and go if I just need one little bag to go with me, not my whole big bag. So that's why I love these bags so much. And you will see that for all that I'm using. So that is my mom's sock. It will be done hopefully this weekend. We're going to see her Saturday, in 6 days. So that's for her. My next sock, that was my Christmas Day cast on. This was my Christmas Eve cast on. This is another long dog yarn, and this one is called Peppermint Twist. It came with a really adorable poinsettia bag that I have a different project in. But here is this one. Look at this colorway. Her speckle colorways are fabulous. And this one, I just did a 1x1 rib, and then I'm doing a 3x1 for the body. Heel flap and gusset. I am through the gusset decreases, and I think I've got, I don't remember, 40 more rows on this one to get to the toe. So here's that. Ideally, yeah, we'll see. I have like 3 of them kind of at the same spot. Ideally, these will all be cast off Monday, Tuesday, so I can cast on, because I'm going on a volleyball tournament. That's where I'll see my parents, and I want to have socks with me. That's really more than likely all I will be taking. So I want to make sure I've got socks at different stages so I can keep on clicking. If one sock did not get done this month, this is the one, because it's not for any knit along. It's just for me. So that is that one. Again, in a prickly owl bag. I'll have links for all of the shops down below. Okay, my next one is Desert Vista Dye Works, and this one's kind of funky because normally Desert Vista Dye Works, I'm doing self-striping yarn. When I bought a bunch of yarn in a D-stash, I got it like last December, a year ago December, before I started my year-long knit along, because I didn't have any of her yarn here, but I wanted to do the knit along. So I bought a D-stash, and there was one that had the main color and a bunch of colorful minis. I don't know. I didn't cast it on last year. I'm like, how am I going to make that into socks? I don't know. But then I started following Therapy by Craft, Eunice, and she's got such creative ideas. And one of them was this type of sock. She did a different heel, so hers look a little differently, but I loved it. So here is my version. It is a 2x2 rib for the whole sock, the whole leg, the whole top of the foot. The bottom of the foot's just stockinette, of course. I'm doing a heel flap and gusset. And I'm doing 12 ribs of main color, 3 ribs of coordinating color all the way down. This one has, I think, about 45 more rows to go, or 40 more rows to go. And then the toe. I'm going to do the toe in the main color as well. Then on my other sock, the coordinating color up here will not be pink. It will be a different color. The green's going to be the same. And then the foot colors will be different stripes as well. I think it's going to be really fun. So this is another one that I'm hoping to have the first sock bound off in the next few days. I'm loving it. I'm kind of addicted to this one. It is just fun. So actually that's for 2 knit-alongs. It's for my Desert Vista Dye Works, where I do knit 1 sock of hers a month with her colors. And then I'm also putting that in the Monster Sock Knit Along, because it's just using scraps and minis. And while I did have a main color, I'm using 5 different minis. So I think that more than qualifies. Okay, so another knit along that I just found out this. Maybe it's been a week now. I don't think so. But the Night Owl Fibers, which is this yarn, this is her colorway Oh Christmas Tree. She announced that she is doing a knit along, and you just have to knit 1 pair of her socks using her yarn. Now, the nice part about hers is that you can use any heels, toes, and cuffs, which is fabulous, because I have a whole wall of minis. I don't always remember where they came from. With hers, I don't know that maybe she offers the minis and I just haven't paid attention. So I love it. So this was just yarn that I dyed, and now I'm through the cuff and I'm just starting, which actually I pulled out because I want to change needles to the 1.5 size instead of the 1. I'm going to do the heel toe do-si-do on this one. So I want to start that pattern and get that going. I probably won't start the pattern for like a day or two. When some of these the toes are off and I'm kind of in that stage of working on lots of ribbing, then I'll flip to this and work on the leg a little bit. But I'm so excited. I had wound this yarn up last December thinking I was going to cast it on and have like a traditional colored Christmas sock. I just didn't get to it. My friend Lee and I are both going to be knitting Christmas socks like right now for next year, because we both felt like we did not plan in enough time in advance to get our Christmas socks knit. So that's the plan, and I am so excited for it. I think I want to have like 5 knit up for next Christmas season. And I'm going to knit a pair for Izzy because I'm going to be mailing her socks while she's at college. So more on that later, but that is the plan. So I'm really pumped about this being Christmas yarn. And I'm loving, I went through all of my stash and organized my sock stash in December, and it's on 6 shelves now. And I organized by company, and I counted, I have, including this one, 13 skeins of Night Owl fiber already here. So I have all the yarn I need to do this knit along. And if you do one a month, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, you get like a custom self-striping only to people who completed. And I think that's just so cool. So I'm really liking that. I can't remember. I think like each quarter, at the end of each quarter, I think you get a gift, like a certain percentage off. I don't know if it's 15%. I feel like it's 15%, but if that's wrong, I'm so sorry. Go look at Night Owl Fibers on our Instagram. You'll have all the details. Here is the prickly owl bag for this one. It says, oh holy night. Yeah. So it's just a beautiful Christmas red bag with Mary and Jesus and little baby in the manger. It's great. All right, last but not least, I actually have one other sock. It's another one I cast on, but I'm not even done with the cuff, so I didn't bring it in. And it was intended for the Monster Scrap Along sock, the Monster Sock Knit Along. That was before Night Owl Fibers, before I learned about her knit along. So I really don't think I'm going to be working on that. Maybe, but I have plenty to do right here. So the last kind of self-imposed knit along, we're going to call it, I realized when I was arranging all of my yarn that I had dyers that I was buying yarn, and like more than one time buying yarn during their sales, and I'd not used them. I'm talking self-striping, awesome dyers, and I just hadn't cast it on yet. So my challenge to myself, and it doesn't necessarily have to be self-striping, any sock yarn that I haven't used the dyer before or haven't used that dyer's yarn to make socks. Once a month, I'm going to pick one I haven't used and I'm going to knit it up. So this month is Knitterly Things, and this is her colorway Cozy Season. To my knowledge, and hers as well, she is the only Michigan self-striping yarn dyer, and I had never even bought her yarn until Small Business Saturday, and this is the first time I'm using it. So I'm so excited. I am in love with this colorway. It just gives me like retro ski lodge vibes, and I'm here for it. But yeah, so here's that. And I think I'm like 30 rows away from the toe on this one. Again, it's one of my 3 that I'm going to be racing each other, working on all of them to get to the toe and then get bound off. I'm looking down only because I have some loose notes to make sure I don't forget anything. And right now we're on track. So that is awesome. So that's all the socks. Oh, let me put them away and I'll share the bags. So this is another prickly owl bag. This one just screams winter. I love a good plaid. And on that note, I have one that's a little bit bigger, and it's with my buffalo plaid one, which I love. And that's because I've got all these minis for this sock. So that's where my Desert Vista Dye Works socks living. They normally are in long bags too, but because I've got all the minis, this fit better. Yeah. So that is all the socks and where I'm at with those. So much to do. I was hoping to get more knit on them yesterday, but I got so obsessed with my whip, I didn't knit on any of the socks after I woke up from the nap from shoveling the snow. And that's just fine. Now let's talk about some fun FOs, which one of them I am sure you were noticing. I finished all 3 of my projects for Spin Cycles Plump A Long. It was, and I think today, it was supposed to be done January 11th. I think they extended it one day because they were having issues with where you put your entries in on their website. So you could still technically cast on a hat using, well, no, this comes out on Monday, so this will be done. I apologize. Apologies. But I've been talking about on my Instagram, so hopefully you were able to see it there and join in if you wanted to. But they had a Plump Along challenge. Spin Cycle always kind of makes it a fun challenge. And you could use, as long as you use 50% Spin Cycle yarn, you could use 50% other yarn. And they wanted you to use Plump, their bulky weight. So for Christmas, the girls and Randy are always like, what do you want? What do you want? I never have a good answer. I'm like, oh, I don't know, because I love yarn, but this is only like one portion of my yarn stash. Like, it is plentiful here. I am very, very blessed. And I just didn't need a bunch. But Spin Cycle announced, my family kind of waits till the very last minute. So they were shopping. Christmas was Wednesday. They were shopping on Monday. So I'm like, you know what? I sent them this pattern for the cowl. And I'm like, it just needs 2 skeins and 2 skeins. 4 skeins of Plump would make this cowl. And I'm like, that would be the perfect Christmas present. You all can go in, like each girl can pick out 2 colors. It would be so fun. It would be great. So Izzy wasn't able to go. Cece picked out the colors. And then my husband picked out 2 skeins of this bright blue Malabrigo. I don't know if you can see that. So yeah, so I opened up my presents and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so great. But originally, and Cece told me when she came home, she's like, Mom, I'm not so sure about my colors that I picked out. So if you want to exchange them, like, it's not a problem. And I was so grateful that she said that and was kind enough to, like, that's just her. Like, she's like, it won't offend me. That's fine. Because you hate to return Christmas gifts, because they did try. So what was so fun is that the original color she picked out was this Spin Cycle, and it's called Under the Wave. I'd never seen it before on any of their bases. So I was so excited to see a new Spin Cycle, but she had paired that with this darker color. And I just wasn't sure if there was going to be enough contrast for the cowl. So what I did was I used 1 skein of Under the Wave, and then I used 1 skein of what my husband got me, which was Malabrigo. I'm going to link the Ravelry page because the names of all the yarns are on the Ravelry page. I held it double, and the Malabrigo, to get so that it was comparable weight to the bulky. And I was able to knit the Plumped Up Harlow in the original colors. Then I kept Afternoon Delight, which is this darker color down here. There were 2 skeins of that, so I kept that for the cowl. And then I traded in the extra skein of this and the extra skein from my husband, the color he picked out, and was able to get 2 skeins of Bad Egg, which is this neon and tan color. It is magical. Then I had enough scraps from this and from the blue from this hat to make a second matching Plumped Up Harlow. Oh, this was so much fun. They've all been entered in the Spin Cycle Plump Along. It is awesome. So I'm going to share some mishaps, I guess you would call it. I don't even know that you're going to be able to see it now. Oh yeah, well, now that I put the pom-pom on. I put the pom-pom on because it felt like it was two-toned, but putting this on matches my sweater that I wore with it, and it matches the blues down here. And I think it just really tied it all together. Um, I love brioche, I do, but when I'm doing brioche, my issue with it is if I make an error, I've not done it enough to be able to fix my error. Like normal knitting, color work, whatever, I can tink back, I can fix everything, but brioche, I cannot. It is not easy for me. So I knit this, you knit 8 inches for my size in straight brioche before you do decreases for, I'll show you on this one, before you do the decreases for the brim. This first one, I knit no problem whatsoever. All of my decreases are beautiful. I had no issues. Like, it was fabulous, right? No problems. Second one, I knit the 8 inches and then waited until the next morning, got up, and I started the decreases. And after 1 round of decrease, which is like 4 rows, I don't know what happened. I made an error. It looked horrible. I'm like, I tried to fix it. I'm like, what am I doing? I ripped the whole thing out. Like, oh my gosh. Cast it all back on and redid it. And then again, it's at the top here. Let's see if you can see it. When I was doing the decreases, now this was like the very last decrease. Do you see how there's like this nice, it's a yarn over, like a yarn over slip over or slip on yarn over blue. And there's this nice one here, this nice row. And then here at the very top, there's no more row. Somehow I missed or whatever the yarn over the slip-on yarn over, and that's what happened. But it was at the top. I'm like, I am not ripping this whole thing out and knitting it again. I knew I was going to put a pom-pom on it anyway. You cannot tell when I wear it. So I just rolled with it. And then when I wove in the ends on the inside, I just made sure that I didn't really even find what I did, but I like made sure I kind of went down and looped it and like picked up where it possibly could be, just to make sure that everything was secure, and it is. So that is my hat. I'm going to take my microphone off and take my cowl off so I can show you this a little bit more. Okay, so my plumped up cowl. This is by Andrea Mowry as well. I love this puppy. I ended up doing the large size. I think the second size, like the medium, or maybe the small, I'm not really sure, is what like Andrea did, but I'm bigger than her, and I wanted like big, warm cowl. And this is 100% what that is. The only thing that I did a little bit different, when I first seamed it together, it wants you to seam like all the way down, and it was just too tight around my neck. So then I went back through and I undid these last, I don't know, or I guess it was the first for me, but I undid like these 6 stitches or so, and that just allows it to lay on my neck a little bit. It gives me a little bit more room on the front on the V to like style it a little differently. But that is it. She's a beauty. You technically can, it's reversible, so I technically could absolutely turn it inside out. It's already woven and I just need to clip that tail if I do that. But I just don't like the side as much, honestly. I just don't. So for me, this will never be reversible. I will always wear it with my lovely neon as a neutral. That's my theory because I love neon yellow so much. So my neon as a neutral self will always be wearing that on the outside. Now, when I was knitting these, I knew I wanted to wear this sweater. So hang on, I pulled the book. This is one of the first sweaters, not the first ones I knit, but the first ones I knit that I would say like, I feel like fits me well or fits me better. My first 2 were fingering weights. I ended up giving them to Izzy because I didn't like it. It fit me. There just wasn't much ease. I just didn't like it. So she has those 2. And then my third one was no frills, and that one was big. Then this one, I went to Marie Green's Seamless Knit Sweaters in 2 weeks. She was just putting this book out. Let's see if yeah, 2019, and she had just put it out. So this was 2019. I went and saw her. I took her class. She autographed my book. Knit like the wind, my friend. P.S. See you on the gram, because we were Instagram friends. So yeah, I loved her class. It helped me quite a bit. I took 2. One was about this book, and you did like a little swatch, and then she gave you tips and tricks. And then the other one was like how to knit in 2 weeks, like how to time yourself, how to know how long it will take you to do rows, and how to like plan your work so you can get it done. I loved that. It had me thinking about my knitting in a whole different way. So the one I picked to make was Cape Creep Minimalist Pullover. Here's her version. Isn't that adorable? And I used Malabrigo yarn, which I bought from String Theory. That's the one who had her come in and hosted. I love it. I love the fit. I love everything about it. It still fits great 6 years later, but it was pilling so much that I hadn't worn it in a while. I'm like, oh, it's just pilling. So I put this on Instagram yesterday. I did it yesterday before the podcast, the first time. And I pulled out my Gleaner tool for the first time ever. And I have no idea why it takes me so long to do things. I have no idea. But I pulled it out. I'm going to pop in a sped up, because it took 20 minutes. So I'll speed it up. I'll pop it in and I'll show you how much I pulled off in that time frame. It is so much better. But of course, now that I know that that thing works so good, it takes a little bit, and it was my first time doing it. I'm ready for round 2 already on this sweater. Hey everyone, it's Terry with Earleygirlsyarn. It is Saturday, January 11th when I am recording this. This is my weekend, my only weekend in January. Well, that's not true. Izzy's going to be gone for some of them, but I'll still be here. So it's one of my weekends in January in which I have nothing to do. Nothing except knit and organize my craft room and my house laundry, house things, but like I have no running of kids to do. So as I'm getting ready for my podcast, organizing life a little bit, I have an FO, which I'll share on the podcast, but I wanted to wear this sweater, which is one of my first sweaters that I knit that fit me really good. And it's from the Marie Green book, How to Knit a Sweater in 2 Weeks. But it's Malabrigo yarn, and I don't know if you can see, but it is pilling. And it's not my only yarn that pills, but this thing is pilling so much. Can you see all those? You can see it kind of up there. And I know like under the arm, but and it's pilling everywhere. I wish you could see. Yeah, that maybe you can see it there. I mean, it's just everywhere. So I finally got my Gleaner kind of out of the box. I haven't even popped it out yet, but I've got my directions. I'm gonna read through it and I'm gonna take you on this journey because I've had this Gleaner in my house for, I don't know, 5-6 years and I have not used it yet. So hopefully this is gonna fix all my issues and I'm gonna know how to use it. Then I'm gonna go on a depilling rampage and it's gonna be awesome. So let's get to it. And it's not just Malabrigo that pills. I don't want to at all say that because this is a fabulous yarn. It's soft. I mean, I've worn the heck out of this sweater and it's held up very nicely. I love the color. And I have Spin Cycle Trime. I have 2 weekend sweaters out of Spin Cycle Trime. That's pilling as well. So I'm just going to take it and just be gleaning everything now. So if you use a gleaner, let me know. I was thinking about this as I was doing it. I'm wondering if my blade will get dull, like if I'll need to replace that at some point. So tell me about that. Give me your experience with that because I'm very curious. But I loved it, love the sweater, love the Gleaner, and with the fit, it is just like 10 out of 10, made my whole day. So that made me unbelievably happy to do this yesterday. I actually wore it to church. So yesterday I wore this little outfit to record, obviously, because I had recorded, and then I wore it not much longer. Maybe I wore it like 2 or 3 hours yesterday. We took FO pictures, and then I went and changed because I went out and shoveled snow for quite some time. So I wore it to church today, and then I'm going to wear it today. So this is my full day of wearing it. Let me just say, love it. Okay, so that is all of those things. We already talked about my new cast on, which is going to be my artist shawl. As far as knit alongs for the year, I'm doing Night Owl Fibers knit along, which is knit 1 sock of theirs a month. I'm doing Desert Vista Dye Works, knit 1 sock a month. My own little challenge to use a new dyer, but if I don't get that done in a month or if it takes me a little longer or whatever, like I'm not stressing about that. That's just my personal challenge to use new to me dyers so I can share them on here and use them. And I did the Plump A Long challenge. Now there is Farmer's Daughter Fiber is having, I have my list of ones I want to do. They have a knit along happening right now. It runs January 1st, 2025 through March 31st of 25. And that is the Farmer's Daughter Fiber Rush Make Along. And it's on their Discord channel, which you can find in her Instagram in the top, like in her link tree. So, and it's just use her yarn and make a project. So I went through my projects that I have. I try and take pictures of my yarn and put it in the project page, like for sweaters and shawls and those types of things. So I have a couple sweaters, 3 sweaters I think that I have planned with her yarn that's already here in the house, and a couple shawls, maybe a cowl, can't remember. So I think I might be casting on a sweater at some point in the near future of that yarn too, to enter and knit along with those ladies, because I do love her yarn. So that is it. I am going to let you go. Probably start working on the cape, the Allsorts cape, and the socks. And I get to knit the day away next weekend. It's a volleyball tournament. Just Izzy and I are going. We're going to meet my mom and dad. So I will have less knitting, but good volleyball watching to do. All right, everybody, it has been a pleasure, and I will chat with you all soon.